In this video, I will show you how to make a handle and how to attach it to your base mug form, because we've got the bottom on and it's all attached. I just have to make a handle and attach it on there. So the first thing you'll need to do is to create a coil. Now, a coil is sort of like a snake-like piece of clay. You can see how there it has a coil, but of course I have bent it and shaped it into a handle shape. So I'm going to start with a decent amount of clay here. Now when you make the coil, if you roll it too much, it'll dry out and it'll start cracking. Okay, so I'll give you some wetter clay. Okay, so you're just going to kind of start, and I'm going to kind of let it roll on its own a little bit. So I'll squish, let it roll, squish, let it roll, squish, let it roll. Okay, and now I'm going to take both of my hands and I'm going to drag it out. And I'm pulling, and as I'm pulling, you can see it kind of start to get longer and thinner from the middle. And when I also do that, I'm going to kind of let it roll on its own. So pull apart, pull apart, pull apart. And if you just want to do it one direction for now, that's fine. Okay, so pulling apart, and when you let it roll, it stays nice and round, and it doesn't get wonky on one end. I'm going to use this piece. If you kind of roll it back and forth like this, you'll get dents, and you don't want the dents in there. That's not going to look good. Or you could get it to where it is kind of like flat on a couple of the sides. We don't want that either. Okay. All right, so I've got my basic coil here, and I'm going to sort of shape it. I'm not sure how you want to shape it. Maybe you kind of want it to go like this, and maybe kind of like this, or maybe that's a little bit too long. And maybe I kind of want it down like that, so that I can kind of put it on my mug. You have to sort of measure, your fingers. Do you want it to be able to just have 3 fingers, or sometimes handles are very small. If you want all the fingers in there, it has to be a little bit wider, like the one that I sort of initially created. Okay, then you have to figure out, well, where am I going to cut that off? Okay, well, I definitely need to cut it off more over here. Okay, so I'll just start with my knife tool, and we'll just start here. We'll just cut it off right there. See how that goes. Okay, all right, that's not bad. And you'll notice I need to make that flatter, so I'm going to cut this one off right here. Okay, so let's see. Tap that down a little bit. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm sort of liking the way that's sort of fitting on there. Maybe I wanted it like out a little bit more, so I could kind of bring it out a little bit more, because I was having a hard time fitting all my fingers in there. Now when you get to this point, especially if your clay is really wet, you'll need to let it sort of dry overnight. Okay, so the best thing to do is when you have your, you've put your mug in your bag and wrapped it up, just grab like a second bag and just kind of put this in there and sort of loosely wrap it and just set this back on your tray. Okay, because if we let this firm up a little bit, if it's too wet, what'll happen is you'll put this on the mug, and it's got weight to it, and it's going to start dragging, and it's going to make it misshapen, and it's going to drag it down. Okay, so we want to wait a day for it to firm up a little bit. So you may have to be a little patient because making the thing does not take very long. Now when you do attach it, okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to get a little water on the ends. Okay, and I've got to figure out where it's going to be, and I want to make sure that it's straight. So I'm just going to kind of put it on there, and then I'll let it go. Now I know where to score it, so that I'm not scoring all over the place, because if I score all over the place, then I've just got to fix it. So I'm going to score right there, really rough it up really good. Score right there. Okay, then I'll score on the ends of my handle. Okay, and I'll get my water, my brush. Put a little bit on the ends. Okay, and I'm going to just sort of push it into place. And then I'll push this one into place as well. Whoops. I can hold this like that. So then I can kind of push a little harder. I can push there a little harder. And you can kind of smooth it out a little bit. You can smooth out any of those spots where it is scratched up by the scoring tool, right there. Okay, and that looks pretty good. Okay, now this is the most important thing. Do not ever hold it by the handle. From here on out, until this is fired, don't hold it by the handle because it will come off. Even when it's dry, you think it's there, but it's, you know, it's only got so much of a bond, okay? But don't hold it by the handle because this will rip it because of the weight. Okay, and that's how we attach our handle.